Welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you for tuning in today. Today, I'll be sharing with you 10 things you need to consider when preparing for retirement. Harrison Fosdick said a common quote that you shouldn't simply retire from something. Rather, you should retire to something meaningful. Have you ever thought about retirement? When I say retirement, I'm simply talking about what would life after 60 years look like for you. It's possible for you to decide to retire earlier than 60 years, but commonly, a lot of people, both in the public and private sector, choose to step back a bit on certain activities and regular work to just retire. So I ask you now, what will your retirement look like? And after this video, you will discover certain things you need to put in place in order to make that your retirement a solid plan. Let's get right into it. So, I'll begin by saying that the first thing you need to do is to have a plan. The Bible says, write the vision, make it plain, that they that see it will run with it. It's not enough to have the plan in your head. You need to be able to write it down. I began thinking about retirement while taking care of my parents after retirement. I noticed how so many things had changed. For instance, like my dad was always super active, energetic, and I think I got a lot of my personalities from my dad. But noticing how gradually he would not go out as much as he used to. He was mostly indoors, and I just knew that that wasn't his personality. In as much as he desired to go out, in fact, he always found a place to go out to, but definitely I noticed he wasn't also as strong as he used to be before. And that just got me thinking about life after retirement. What will I be doing when I retire? And that's what inspired this video. I began to pen down the things I would want to do when I retire. So let me start by asking you to write a list of the things you want to do when you retire. Preferably make it up to 10, a balanced figure. Just sit down, think, and just draft up some of the things you would love to do when you are no longer in active service. It could be various things, and we'll explore them in this video. So ask yourself what you want to do and what you want your life to look like when you retire. The next thing is that you need to cultivate a fitness lifestyle. If you've been listening to me, you will know that this year, 2025, it's a year I intend to get my fitness groove back. No dulling, no sleeping. Rather, I'm smashing my fitness goals. But why is this important? Many times, once you get to that point of retirement and you're not doing the regular 9 to 5 or going out every day, even if you're running a business like you used to, you notice that you mostly indoors. And when you're indoors, you are sedentary. Either you're sitting down or you're lying down. You don't move around so much. If you are to track the fitness or maybe the step counts of someone who is always indoors and compare it with the step counts of someone who is always outdoors, you will see the difference. So you have to be able to get intentional about physical fitness. So now is the time for you to make it a habit. Remember, yes, it's never too late to do anything, but the moment you begin to age, you notice that you're not as strong as you used to. This is naturally. So you're not as strong as you used to. Your adrenaline levels are not as they used to be. For women, we begin to undergo a lot of hormonal changes with menopause. So our hormones sometimes are messing up and we're just not in the mood. You know how you would feel when you're pregnant and sometimes that burst of energy is not there. In your 60s, those are natural experiences that you would encounter. But if you have formed a fitness lifestyle, you're always physically active, you have a fitness routine, your diet, and a fitness plan basically that you are used to, it's easy to continue in that habit. Remember, retirement is not about stopping, it's about transitioning. So you are not so much as active as you used to be. You are transitioning to a more relaxed and um not so busy lifestyle. So that's what retirement is all about. So it's important now to begin to draft a fitness plan. Like for me, I begin with ensuring that I do my best to hit 10,000 steps. Let it be a habit. I do my best to at least be physically active 6 times a week. So Monday to Saturday, even if it's just a 5 minute workout or a 10 minute workout I'm doing, or a 30 minutes or 1 hour, whatever it is, I must do something that gets me physically active, and I begin to track my step counts. So that's one thing you need to do. The third thing you need to do and consider while preparing for retirement is having multiple streams of income. In a common setting, when you're working before retirement, most times you may be employed. In some cases, you may be self employed, but you have a routine of your 9 to 5 and you depend on that source of income for your daily and regular living. But when you're retired, most times during the period of active service, you may have had a pension plan, so it's easy for you to just sit and only depend on the pension plan. But one thing you need to understand is that the cost of livelihood isn't going to reduce. Cost of livelihood 10 years ago, 5 years ago, even 1 year ago, and now are not the same. And most times with the pension plan, it's the chances that you are saving more is lesser, because over the years you've saved some money and that money will be released to you on a monthly basis. So just imagine I'm in Nigeria and I save maybe up to 10 million or something over the period of my active service, depending on what my salary is, because basically the pension plan is they take a percentage of your salary and save it. So this is an instance. Let's say I save 10 million. They would calculate, there's a way they calculate it, and they will be remitting a certain amount to me every month. Imagine if what they are giving me every month is 150,000. And when I was in active service, maybe I was earning up to 700 or 800,000, just or even 500,000, and the cost of living has increased. What's the value of that 150,000 for me? Is barely going to be enough for me to meet my needs. So this is why you should have other streams of income. You should have investments, financial investments. So now, while you are in active service, you're strong enough to do your thing on a daily basis. Ensure that you have an investment plan. You can go into real estate. You can go have a child education plan. You can have mutual funds. Just seek for secure investments that will generate money for you when you are not in active service. If you're running a business, for instance, you can branch out in your business. Don't just stick to one business. You can have multiple streams of that business. Just make sure that you are spreading your net. You are not drinking from one source. So the next thing you need to consider is that you need to clear off all your debts and all your loans. Retirement is not the time to have to be indebted, because especially if you got a loan from an establishment and there's an interest on it, trust me, what you are earning in retirement, especially if you do not have a secure retirement plan, may not be sufficient to pay off that loan. And even if it's sufficient, by the time you pay off that loan, what you would have left may not be sufficient to sustain your livelihood at that stage of your life. So make sure you have a plan, a debt repayment plan, and make sure, even if it's gradual, even if it's over the years, just pay off that debt. Don't step into retirement with accumulated debt. Trust me, it's not going to be a fun experience. Also, you need to build strong relationships and network. It's common that as people grow older, they become more lonely for different reasons. First, imagine a partner, life partners, couples. Imagine if you lose one of your spouse, you become you've lost someone close to you, you become lonely. Also, you would have had friends while you were in active service, but those friends will have other responsibilities. Imagine as an elderly woman in your 60s, you may have a grandchild to take care of or something. So you may not have the opportunity to frequently interact with friends at that season of your life. But when you build strong relationships and networks, it's something you have built over time. So you would basically not be doing life alone. Even if you cannot see each other regularly, there can be a structure you can set up to ensure that you people catch up with each other, even if you're not in the same location. So don't, some people feel, oh, I'm an introvert, I'm okay, I'm fine by myself. No, they always say it is lonely at the top. So also when you grow older in age, that's like the top and the peak of your life. It can get lonely there. So make sure you build strong networks, strong relationships so that you don't feel alone and you don't have to do life alone. Your children will not be there all the time. Remember, that's the season that most of the time the children leave and they start up their own families. And imagine if also, for instance, as a couple, this is another example, you didn't build a strong relationship with your partners. You people become like strangers. But imagine if you have a solid relationship, it's easy for you people to always be there for each other, do things together, pay attention to each other. So don't, at this stage of your life, don't focus on only my kids, my kids, my kids, and neglect your relationship with your partner. Focus on ensuring that all your relationships with your immediate family, extended family, friends, and even professional network. That's another mistake. People retire out of service, then when they need help in one or two things, they're wondering, who can I call? Who can I call? Build relationships with those in your peers. Build relationship with those below your peer group. Because by the time you're out of service and they are in service, you can have people to back on. It's very important. The power of networking is very important. The next thing you need to consider is explore the world. Now is the time. It is not when you are gray and old that you begin to say, oh, I wish, oh, I wish. Create memories. Now is the time. Create a bucket list. I recently created a bucket list of the 10 things I want to achieve before I clock 40. It just gets your mind out there. You know, sometimes we are carried away. We are focused on responsibilities, meeting needs, doing this and doing that, and we neglect ourselves. Why do you think God created all these wonderful things? The mountains, the seas, everything. He took his time and created it and told you, inherit the earth, not live in it and solve problems only. Inherit the earth. One of the ways to inherit the earth is to enjoy the earth. Let it produce for you food. Let it produce for you relaxation. Let it produce for you peace of mind. Inherit it in all capacity. Don't neglect yourself. Explore the world. When I say the world, begin with the one around you. The city you are in currently, how many of the fun places in that city have you visited? You know, there's this season of my life where it was like you could guess where I was. It was like a triangle from my house to my office to church, back to my house to my office to church. And it was like that. And lately I told myself, see, man, I did not come to this world to suffer. I came to enjoy. I had to identify fun places that I could go out with the kids, go out with my husband. Last year, I was able to go to a few places, but this year, I want to invest more in exploration. So it's important. Create lovely memories. This is the prime of your life. Enjoy it because a time will come where you would want to do it, but you may not have the energy to go on and do it. There's a limit to what you can do. At 60, it may be hard to go skydiving. At 60, it may be hard to go on a Ferris wheel. I recently went on a Ferris wheel. My kids were on that Ferris wheel with me. They were not screaming. My son then was 4. My daughter then was 2. They were even looking at me and wondering, like, Mom, why are you screaming? I was screaming at the top of my voice, bring this thing down, bring it down. My children, my children. Meanwhile, the children I was screaming about were just relaxed and chilling and having fun. So please just explore, explore, explore. The next thing is have a health insurance plan. Very important. Have a health insurance plan because yes, we want to live in good health. Yes, we will live in good health. Yes, we will live strong in our old age. But it's good to always plan. There's no harm in having an insurance plan and at the end you don't get to use it. But when you have an insurance plan and it comes in handy, you already have something in place so that you are not paying out of pocket. So from now, begin to source for possible health insurance plan. You can start with the government's owned insurance plan, or you can delve into the private depending on the services you seek for. And you can even begin to save money. When you make inquiries of the insurance plan, you have an idea of like how much it will cost. You can start from now to begin to save for it. So you can have the basic insurance plan now at this stage of your life that you use with your family. But when you plan, they are the ones they have for like elderly people and all that. Make inquiries, find out, and begin to save for it so that when the before you retire from active service, you can now put that plan in place and it begins to read for you. So the eighth thing you need to consider is have a passion project. Very important. Even if you may not be going out to work, there should be something that keeps you going. There should be a way for you to still be able to give back. Let me use Joyce Meyer as an example. Joyce Meyer has a ministry, Joyce Meyer Ministries. At the same time, she has an outreach ministry, Hand of Hope, and they're involved in outreaches. They organize medical outreaches and all that, go to different places in the world, in Africa, in different countries. Before, she used to be actively involved in travels. But as she began to age, there was a limit to the kind of travels she could go on. What does she do now? If you listen to Joyce Meyer now, yes, she preaches in her church and maybe where she's invited to around. Then she has a television ministry. She started the television ministry since, but now she's more into it. Like she would stay in her, there's a studio, there are people that are seated, she preaches to them, or there may even be no people seated, she's preaching to the camera. That's like her passion project. She loves to teach. She loves to teach the word of God. She doesn't have to wait for Sunday or midweek service to teach. She can decide that she wants to just record and just teach. She's still giving back. She doesn't need to travel the world to do that. She doesn't need to exert so much energy to do that. But her heart still feels fulfilled because she's still giving back and she's doing what she loves. So start from now to discover what do you love to do. Like for me, I love to engage with people. I love to share stories. I love to inspire. And I have it in my mind that I'm going to have a studio of my own in the long run and set up the studio. I can decide at any point in time to go into my studio and record and do what I need to do and still give back, irrespective of the age I am. Another thing is writing books. Very important. Writing books. There's no limitation when it comes to writing or giving back knowledge. I think that's the right word because it's not only just writing books. You may have the knowledge, the wisdom that you think people can learn from, and you channel that and you give back. So that can also be a passion project. So think deep within, ask yourself questions. What is something I enjoy doing and I don't struggle to do it? I do it with ease and there are no limitations to this. When you discover that, begin to develop the skills you need, the expertise, the experiences, and give in. So you don't have to launch your passion project after you have retired. You can begin from now, but just make sure that when you're retired, there's a passion project you are going to be doing. The ninth thing you should consider is discover creative and stress-free things you can do for fun. It's very important. who says that a 60-year-old cannot have fun? He may not be adventurous, he may not be vigorous, but there are simple, lovely, easy, stress-free things you can do. You can paint, you can sing, you can cook, you can garden, depending on your interest. Just discover something you would enjoy with ease and you can do for fun. And this would also help to develop your brain, your thinking capacity, and your creative abilities. And the last thing is have a property that is elderly friendly. When you are retired, is not the time you should be paying rent. So one of your priorities now should be how to get a property of your own where you can build your retirement home. And there are certain things you need to consider when building your retirement home. This will be determined by safety, accessibility, and comfort. When it comes to accessibility, preferably a home that does not have staircase is preferable because you never can tell. There are a lot of research shows that there are a lot of falls. Elderly people suffer fractures either because of a trip from a staircase or a floor that is tiled smoothly and all that. They could either slip or trip and miss their step and fall and have a fracture. Then also ensure that even if there has to be staircase, there should be railings, and the staircase preferably should be ramps. That's that slopey slide, the ones that you can pull a wheelchair on, not necessarily a staircase. So you should be able to accommodate, okay, something that can accommodate a wheelchair or a walker so that it's easy just in case. These are things that are important, but people don't pay attention to. Imagine building a retirement home and you're building a two-story building that is massive and all that. It will really do you less good, in all honesty, if you're thinking of comfort, accessibility, and safety. Also, ensure that wherever you're building should be close to a hospital facility or a pharmacy, just in case of emergencies. You don't have to go so far. Let it be an environment that is socially friendly, not one isolated environment that is so far and is difficult to navigate. Also, ensure that your shelves, when you build your shelves, it's not something that is so high that you cannot reach. It should be something that is easily accessible. Then in your bathrooms, preferably don't use bathtubs. You can use walk-in showers, the ones that you just walk into them, not necessarily the one that you have to start climbing and figuring how to raise your legs and all that. Then it's important that for areas that are commonly wet, like bathrooms, you should put like a non-slip mat so that there will be no falls. Then basically just ensure that you have a home that you're comfortable, you set up the place. Like I have a friend whose mom actually set up her home for retirement. You know, where we are in Africa, lights can be a problem. So she set up the place, put up a lot of solar panels. Even the panel can carry her fridge, her AC, appliances. She did all that before she retired, and that place is comfortable. So if you can prioritize these 10 things, trust me, you're on your way to having a very fulfilling and productive retirement. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think that we could also do to prepare towards retirement? And to delve more into this topic, at the Women Lighthouse, we're hosting a lovely guest who will be coming to tell us about how we can further prepare for retirement. I'm specially inviting you for that session. Don't plan on missing it. The link for the registration will be in the description box. Just visit the link and secure your spot. Thank you so much for listening to my video today. Have you subscribed? If you haven't, now is the time to do that. Please click the subscribe button so that you can have more access to such content like this about women's health and women's lifestyle. Thank you for listening. Bye.